At Massena, New York, near the mighty St. Lawrence, American war workers and their families from 60 miles around join with the community and members of the armed forces of the United Nations to celebrate Army-Navy Day. This day marks the first anniversary of the Labor Management Committee at the Massena Works of the Aluminum Company of America. It is an all-out demonstration of the unity of purpose which has existed throughout the past year between labor and management, the Army, the Navy, and the Marines, as 15,000 people gather on this day to launch a new year on the home front as united we attack. One of the highlights of the celebration is the mile-long parade through the streets of Massena. Over one-half of the floats are horse-drawn to save gasoline. Leading the parade is the Massena High School Band. And here is the float entered by the United States Army. A Canadian band. Massena Firemen. A funeral for Yamamoto and nobody cries. A field piece entered by the carbon plant. The reduction department float. Plan Corps float. The remelt division. The merchant mill. The blooming mill. And this float was made by men of the 26-inch mill. Chemical control, cable mill, inspection, electrical, Indian steel workers, all have contributed to make Army-Navy Day at Massena a day to remember. Before the rally, a few of the men just back from the fighting fronts asked permission to be shown throughout the plant to see how aluminum is made and handled. Labor and management obliged, and we got a few pictures of the trip, which you're about to see. This is one of the large circular saws cutting through an aluminum rod. And here you see one of the giant electric cranes carrying stock aluminum. The lady worker weighs a load of strategic aluminum. And with the aid of one of our fighting men, she checks up on her own weight. And then comes a ride on one of the big cranes, and the plant visit comes to an end for the fighting men. Rallies were held at Massena, one in the evening at the high school, the other at the Massena Works, where these pictures were taken during the afternoon. The first speaker on the program is E. Donald Mayers, chairman of the Labor Management Committee.
Well, we've had a pretty good year. I am proud to announce that we have just completed the best production month on record. A great many people have made outstanding personal contributions to our common war effort, and as a team, we have accomplished some remarkable things in the face of adverse conditions. But we can do better. And this critical moment is no time to kid either ourselves or each other. We approach the moment when the High Command will flash the attack signal. From now to the end of the line, the rule for each one of us must be, without deviation, a united effort to pour an ever-increasing stream of product from our shipping rooms. Yes, we have done pretty well. Now let's do our best. United, we attack.
Mr. Mayers now introduces Harold A. Martin, co-chairman of the Labor Management Committee and president of the Aluminum Workers Union 19256 of the AF of L.
Mr. Chairman, distinguished guests, fellow workers. I say fellow workers, for I mean that no matter where we work, if it's in the office, in the mill, or the management itself, we are all working with one aim. That one aim is to win this war as soon as possible and to bring back the boys who are now overseas to our homes whom we love so well. If we go along the same as we always have and increase production as much as we can, we are sure that in the end, when these boys are ready to invade the European continent, that they will have all the equipment they need and that we will do our share into protecting our country, protecting the ones we love to home, and to protect the ones we have over in the firing line.
Now, before we hear from our first man just back from the fighting fronts, here is Major C.J. Bishop of the United States Army.
It is you who are backing up our men on the firing line. Today, American fighting men are on battlefronts all over the world. Only 18 months after the sneaking Jap attack. Undersecretary of War Robert P. Patterson asked us to come here today because when you think of world battlefronts, your minds naturally go to Africa, to Alaska, to the Southwest Pacific, and locations all over the world. But there are locations on the home front, just as vital to the Army and Navy, our fellow soldiers, in every sense of the term. That is why I know you will be interested in the words of another soldier, one who gave his right arm that democracy might live. And I am proud to introduce to you Private Reno Yaden of the United States Army, just back from the campaign in Africa. Private Yaden. Remember that first name, girls. Reno.
Thank you, Major, and all. I want to tell you a little of my experience in North Africa. In the afternoon, we got word to make an attack on a town. We were going up in a column of trucks when 15 Stuka dive bombers came out of the sky, right out from the sun. They were right on us before we knew it. We jumped out of the truck, ran to the side of the roads, and hit the ground. Well, they'd all gone over all but one. As they'd come down, they would scrape us. As they'd get right over us, they would drop these personnel bombs. Well, here comes the last plane, and I hadn't been hit yet, and that's the one that got me, though. And when I was hit, the only thing I felt was a burning pain. Well, after it was over with, I started to get up. I got up on my knees, seen my arm still lying on the ground. So I picked my arm up, carried it around with me, and go over and look at a couple of my buddies that I'd seen blown into the air about 20 feet high. Well, from there, I went back to a field hospital, got first aid. But I want to say this, the only good Nazi is a damn dead one.
Major Bishop introduces Captain Florence MacDonald, for 25 years an Army nurse, who was one of the last to leave Corregidor before it fell to the Japanese. Captain MacDonald will tell of her work near Manila in the Philippines when the Japs first attacked.
Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, I was at Fort Stotzenberg on December the 8th when the Japs attacked. We had quite a few casualties, but we were able to take care of them by working 24 hours without any rest. Not a word of complaint out of one of those boys. Not one word. You'd think there'd be a groan once in a while, but never a word. They took it like soldiers. And now our soldiers are dishing it out. And I hope that they'll dish it out in such a way that this thing will be over in a hurry. I'm sure they will, because they're getting help from all those organizations and places where munitions and planes and all the things that are needed for war are being made. You are right behind the boys, and they certainly do appreciate it. Thank you all.
Our next fighting man saw a lot of action against the Japanese. He is Chief Petty Officer George R. Clark of the United States Navy.
Chief, get up and take over for the Navy.
Thank you, Major. Thank you, one and all. Long about 26th of October, we're cruising around out there. If anyone can visualize a 35,000-ton battleship just cruising around out looking for something, with a few others, well, we had it.
Chief Clark was on Battleship X when she became engaged with Japanese planes and surface vessels in the Pacific. Jap planes were coming in like rain, but 32 of them were shot down. A shell from a Jap ship scored a hit on Battleship X, breaking a steam line. Chief Clark rescued 2 men who were trapped by the escaping steam. He helped several others to make their way to safety. Clark wants to get back out there now to do his bit again against the Japs.
Now we have a member of the United States Army Air Forces who was stationed right here in your plant. And I think that Major Francis Hay should get up here and say a few words. Major Hay.
Mr. Helfers, ladies and gentlemen, the best assignment in the Air Corps Procurement Division, working here among you, and I've enjoyed it, and I enjoy it more every day because I get to know you better, and I hope that you feel that you know me a little better.
Here is Private Merrill Quimby of the United States Marines. Quimby was wounded in the chest and shoulder on Guadalcanal after accounting for plenty of dead Japs. He, too, wants to get back into the fighting and add a few more Japs to his already high score. Staff Sergeant George E. Williams of the United States Army Air Force, wounded in an air battle over Europe, has a modest word of tribute to pay to the men and women here on the home front.
This is a wonderful gathering here today, and I am more than proud to be able to call myself one of you people. Thank you.
Our United Nations heroes. From the Netherlands East Indies, this is Corporal Wardojo of the Dutch Royal Air Force. In his native tongue and in English, he says, "United we attack." This man and his people know what Nazi aggression means. His name is Bartholden, a gunner in the Norwegian Navy, and he too says, "United we attack." All the world knows what a great job the Royal Air Force has done and is doing every day. The man you're about to hear spent more than 3 years fighting the Nazis in the air. Flight Lieutenant D.H. Foxmail of the Royal Air Force.
Now, during the long winter months, we were very encouraged to see the great amount of war material, munitions, food, supplies, and spare parts which came to us in North Africa from the United States. And there you will see we had a common bond, we on the battlefront and you fighting men and women in the United States. We knew that however hard the final battle might be, we had the material to do the job. We had relied on you, and you did not fail us. Therefore, on behalf of all the fighting forces in North Africa, and the Royal Air Force in particular, I would like to thank you, fighting men and women of the United States. Let us now increase our efforts. Let us go on united to our next objective, so that united we may attack again. Thank you.
Now, on the anniversary of your Labor Management Committee, I only wish I could send a message from these grounds to Hitler or Hirohito. And here is how it would read. Labor and management. The Army, the Navy, the Coast Guard, and the Marines, and all the members of the United Nations. We will work together, we will fight together, we will march together, and if need be, we will all die together in order that government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from the earth.